All right. So, yeah, I just wanted to ask a couple questions. Let's talk about analog mainly, and kind of an odd question, but if you were not already into analog, what would you kind of say the draw would be for you? What would tempt you into that world?
I think it's a couple things. The tactile experience of young people are already familiar with, of course. And there's that, the cover art, the fact that it's something tangible, right? But when it comes down to what the actual experience, I think sonically it's just very different. As an engineer, as a equipment designer, now I know why it's different, but it's purely analog. It's never been decimated, chopped up, and put back together again. And the human ear, you can hear that. And you don't have to be anybody special. Your brain can hear what it hears. And that's why I think we find analog to be very relaxing. I used to, when I'd come home stressed after work, if I listened to digital, it would give me head up. If I listened to vinyl, I thought I'd just relax.
Right.
My ear was not fighting something, right? The human ear is very, very interesting. It's very complicated. And that's why I think it's just an emotive feeling. It's an experience that if more people, young people in particular, could hear, we have a much greater interest.
Why do you feel like vinyl in particular is an analog source is pervade past everything else? I mean, we're not talking about DAT, we're not talking about Betamax or...
Well, reel to reel technically sounds better.
Right.
It's just not, it's not viable, right? Not really. But records, we have for years, and you can find them used and cheap and new and everything. And technology's there, and it's accessible, I think is really what it is. And it goes way back. Parents, grandparents, family, I'm 54, but people younger, yourself and people younger, what records are, right? So I don't know, it's got a history to it. It's like I said, it's tangible. It's I don't know, there's something special about it at many levels.
Yeah. What was the first record that made you stop and say, that does sound better?
That's a good question. Let me think here. One of the ones that comes to mind, I got a promo, like a radio station company.
Yeah.
I think it was Dire Straits' Salt to Swing, or one of these albums. And I didn't know why I got it. I didn't know why it was too good. The promo copy is way before they even start pressing it.
Right.
And I was just like, man, that's awesome,
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, like I said, I relax. I stop thinking about it, worrying about it. I just enjoy it. Listen to the whole side. Listen to digital, my brain's always racing. So.
Yeah, and do you feel like, as a listener, because you kind of came to vinyl after, like a later book.
For sure. Well, I was born in 1970, so as a teenager, it was cassette tape and CD. As a young, before my teen, my sister had some records, but I never really had records. Then CDs when I was, 16, 18, college, right? Then after I graduated engineering school and started building a system, then it was all CD pushed. But then I heard a record in a record store. A big table. It wasn't anything super crazy, but it had quality that stuck in my head, really stuck in my head. And I was just like, man, that's it, So yeah.
Well, it begs the question: what was the record in that particular occasion?
In that particular occasion, the album was Combustication. I can't think. I'm blanking right now. It's a jazz fusion group. People listening, look it up. Combustication. Oh, it's that. But it was cool. It was this really kind of cool, funky jazz thing. And it was a young person I worked with was younger than myself. I was like 28, 29. He was like 21. We're both listening. He didn't know anything about audio at all. He was just digging. So it's very cool.
That's awesome. Well, I have a kind of an odd question for you. If you had to do it all over again, as far as your record collection and everything goes, what would you do differently? How would you buy vinyl differently?
I'd spend more time buying records that are not necessarily audiophile or primo pressings and just focus on the music. I've learned, There's so many good records, there's so much good music. And some of the best ones, they're rare finds, but some of them are just wonderful. Do you find a record swap at whatever?
Yeah.
A lot of audiophiles, it's got to be MoFo, it's got to be this or that. And those are all great things, okay? Classic records in particular, brilliant albums. But I think we get caught up in this, this audiophile deal of, it's Patricia Barber and whatever. That music's fine. But there's so much music to be explored. Jazz, rock, classical, you name it, whatever, folk, doesn't matter, whatever you like.
Yeah.
All out there. And a lot of us is out of print.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably find it on streaming. It's not going to sound the same, but it was a treasure hunt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, if I had to do over, I'd spend more time focusing on music I enjoy rather than, being all audiophile about it.
Right. And I need a 1 hour record across 3 records.
Right.
45 RPM.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of gets out of hand.
It does.
Now, kind of same vein of thought, if you had to change something about the industry, specifically concerning vinyl, what do you think you'd change about it? You had the power, not just as an influence, as a brand, but no more, this is how we're going
To make it more accessible somehow.
Yeah.
Whether it's good quality equipment that's affordably priced and marketed properly, and just education.
Yeah.
It's wacky to me that we have young people buying records that don't have any way to play them. Hopefully these young people will, in time, then have the ability to play those records. Because they're interested enough in buying it, having it, holding it, and treasuring it, but they didn't listen to it. It's a crime.
Do you have a freezer full of food you're never going to eat?
Right?
Right.
No, I don't. So,
That's a weird thought.
Yeah, right.
Do you think it's you mentioned accessibility though? I mean, I think some of it's just intimidation with the equipment or just lack of exposure.
I think it's lack of exposure, and by young people, I'm saying 20s, 30s, even 40s. The technology's been all digital for so long.
Yeah.
And I think there's this not unattainability, but a certain audiophiles have made it not as accessible. Vinyl is, you gotta do this.
It has to be earned.
You can't touch it, and it's you're not really qualified for this.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's not complicated.
Right.
Buy a record, play the Goodwill or something. Just start digging it.
Right.
If more young people did that, I think it would be, and I hope to see that revolution happen.
I think it will. I think, you kind of hit the nail on the head. All these people are buying all these records. At some point, they're going to wonder what to do with them. Yeah.
There's companies like U-Turn Audio and Project that are selling affordable tables. Riga, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I think these companies are seeing that. U-Turn's a young internet-based company. They're not very expensive, and they're selling a lot of turntables. So there is hope.
Yeah.
I do hope that. I hope that it grows and brings the young people into music. Not so much audiophiles, but appreciation of music.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I mean, that's kind of, there seems to be like a disconnect in that. Like it's not as welcoming as it should be for some people.
Absolutely.
It becomes a chore at that point, and it should be a chore.
For sure.
But yeah, do you feel like as that audience gets found, the tubes will go with them too? Or you think they go hand in hand?
I think so. Tubes and vinyl to me are similar in that there's a sonic quality that's elusive, that's special, and that the human ear likes and people like. I think for young people, it's going to be kind of a retro cool thing, right? They've never seen tubes before. It's visual, it's a sensory thing. And sonically, I think that, they're just going to like it.
Yeah.
Not the amplifier so much, maybe, but just a tube in the system somewhere.
Well, Dan, I appreciate you coming out. It's been a lot of fun. I think the event went pretty good, and I think there's a lot of obvious interest out there for analog in general, but specifically people that are passionate about making right. So, you have anything new coming out that you think kind of cool?
Well, the PH 9.0 NX and XT2 phone have been very successful for us. They are more of an audiophile product, and I'm thinking of taking that technology and folding it down into more attainable, lower price points that are accessible to more people. And I think that's going to be a good thing for for the future and for bringing in younger people.
Very cool. Very cool. What kind of timeline are we looking at?
I would say within the next, within the next 6 months, I'll be rolling some things out. So maybe in the fall. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, very interesting. Thanks again for coming. And
Last time it was fantastic. Thank you, TMR. I was stoked to be here. It was really cool.
we're stoked to have you. And more to come in the future. Huh?
Absolutely. Sounds good.